Should.
Okay, I'll mute everyone. And the recording started. And switch to speaker view. All right, welcome to the 51st Lit Balm. Mark's been keeping track, and he knew that yesterday was the 50th, and today's the 51st episode of Lit Balm, a special Sunday evening episode to celebrate the poets of the New Orleans Poetry Festival. The New Orleans Poetry Festival is going to go all month in April, and let's see, let me put the link in the chat. And we're going to be doing 3 shows in coordination with them. It's nolapoetry.com. We'll be doing 3 shows in coordination with them, and they're going to have a show most days in April. So it's a very cool thing. Everything's free. Just go to nolapoetry.com and see what's going on. But before that happened, we wanted to have a few New Orleans poets here in Lit Balm. So that'll be today's show. But before that, I'm going to introduce one of our co-hosts, the incredible Cassandra Atherton, and she's going to read us a poem. Cassandra Atherton is an award-winning writer, scholar of prose poetry, and professor of writing and literature in Melbourne, Australia. Her most recent books of prose poetry are Pre-Raphaelite, Leftovers, and Fugitive Letters. She is currently writing a book of prose poetry on the atomic bomb with funding from the Australia Council. I've read it, it's wonderful. Cassandra co-wrote Prose Poetry, An Introduction, and the Anthology of Australian Prose Poetry. She is commissioning editor for Westerly Magazine. Cassandra, are you reading for us today?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. The New Orleans Poetry Festival, I couldn't get there because of COVID last year. So it's nice to play a part tonight. This morning in Australia. I'm just going to read a short prose poem called Charnel House. And it goes like this. When you left, I wrote a graveyard of prose poems for you. Fragments, half phrases, broken images. It was as if your closure had made mine unthinkable. So they sit in a folder like bones in a coffin, a menagerie of missing parts waiting for me to bury the remains. But I'm too haunted by wisps of memory and the weight of forgetting to move. My charnel house of prose poems is full of pieces I've tried to stitch together. They are nothing more than a patchwork of words, but I still can't lay them to rest. I would like to introduce the inimitable Mark Vincennes, who you will find out does everything amazingly. He's an Anglo-Swiss American poet, a fiction writer, translator, editor, publisher, designer, multi-genre artist, and musician. He's published 14 books of poetry, including most recently, Becoming the Sound of Bees, Leaning into the Infinite, The Syndicate of Water and Light, and Here Comes the Night Dust. Vincennes' newest collection, The Little Book of Earthly Desires, and a novel set in ancient China, 3 Towers of Tao, or How to Catch a Fortuitous Elephant, are both forthcoming in 2021 from Spite and Dival. An album of music, ambience, and verse, Left Hand Clapping, is also forthcoming from Tree Torn Records. Vincennes is also a prolific translator, and he's translated from the German, Romanian, and French. He's published 10 books of translations, most recently Unexpected Development by award-winning Swiss poet and novelist Klaus Merz, White Pine 2018, and it was a finalist for the 2016 Cliff Becker Book Prize in Translation. His translation of Klaus Merz's selected poems, An Audible Blue, is forthcoming from White Pine Press. His poems have been published in many journals, including the wonderful The Nation, Plowshares, the Los Angeles Review, World Literature Today, Raritan, Asymptote, and Plume. His work has received fellowships and grants from the Swiss Arts Council, the Literary Colloquium Berlin, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Witter-Brenner Foundation for Poetry. Vincennes is editor and publisher of the brilliant Mad Hat Press and publisher of New American Writing. He has lived all over the world, from Brazil to China to Iceland to India. He was born in Matilda Hospital on the Peak in Hong Kong, but now lives on a farm in rural Western Massachusetts, overlooking Herman Melville's Greylock Mountain, and we always love to hear the animals around which Mark lives. And there are more opossums and fireflies and white-tailed deer than people. Mark, please read for us.
I will, thank you. This is once again a little excerpt from my novel in progress called The Age of Occasions. From the great hearth of the kitchen, The dark sleep opens like white heat, but there's a pizza in the oven becoming divine. The hordes of goats that have made this happen, or the water that dissolves on the tomato, or the olives that grew up in Calabria under a hard sun, are all here to help. Don't even mention the anchovies and their oils spreading themselves through the toasted bread. And thus we acquire the knowledge passed on from the dead and their affectations. My father was one with the land as an earwig or a worm. He was firm in his roots, even though he succumbed to the pleasures of the 13th wonder of the world. Listen, let's eat this pizza and be done with it. We know what happens next. And of course, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Jonathan Penton, who founded Unlikely Stories in 1998, an electronic journal of literature and art. Since then, he's lent editorial and management assistance to a number of literary and artistic ventures such as Mad Hat, the New Orleans Poetry Festival, Rigorous, and Big Bridge. In 2005, he founded Unlikely Books, which publishes 3 to 5 books of poetry a year. He's organized literary performances and performed himself across the United States. His poetry books are Last Chap from Virgin Press, Blood and Salsa, and Painting Rust, Prosthetic Gods from New Sins Press, and Standards of Saturday from Lit Fest Press in 2016, and the free e-chap Backstories, which you can download from Argotist ebooks. Look forward to your reading, Jonathan.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to read a haibun, which is a prose poem followed by a haiku. He didn't handle the quarantine like other people. Sure, everyone was a little frazzled. Everyone was taking up absurd hobbies. Many of us developed little tics. James started with music. He would turn on his radio and listen to a bit of Zydeco, then turn on his laptop's playlists and listen to pop music at the same time. After a while, he began curating the songs, matching the songs in his collection to whatever came on the radio. He had switched to the R&B station by that point. Soon, he fired up his desktop and added a third song. By then, he was spending all his time matching songs to one another, organizing 3-minute symphonies of competing melodies and complementary lyrics. We don't know when he stopped sleeping, and he was far from the only one who gave up basic hygiene. But as his eating veered junkier and his songs grew more melodramatic, his vision blurred, his fingers numbed, and his senses narrowed into one mission of perpetual discord. The walls are blistered, sweat spreads and puddles upward. No need for escape. Okay, let's move on to our feature. First poet we're going to hear from today is Kataalyst Alcindor. Kataalyst is a spoken word artist whose work focuses on the people, culture, and history of his beloved native city, New Orleans. The 2-time National Poetry Slam champion was the only poet chosen from thousands of submissions to appear on the 2nd season of Lexa-sponsored television show Verse and Flow, a season that earned the show an NAACP Image Award nom. Since that performance, he's gone on to perform his work on some of the nation's most renowned stages, including PBS in honor of the 10-year commemoration of Hurricane Katrina, as well as America's capital, Washington, D.C., for the illustrious Kennedy Center. He's the author of Marrero and a founding member of Slam New Orleans, a multinational award-winning author collective, amazing team, as well as evacueteer.org, a local nonprofit organization whose volunteers assist in the event of the mandatory evacuation in the city of New Orleans. After his international performance in the Read My World Festival in Amsterdam, he returned to America to join the Gulf Coast Slam team Burn Beautiful. The team went on to earn 3rd place in the nation's largest poetry slam competition, the Southern Fried Poetry Slam. Kataalyst, I look forward to hearing your read today. Ask to unmute.
Hey, thanks. Okay, so thank you so much for having me. I'm going to try and read some stuff. So I have some stuff memorized, and I only have like a finite amount of time, so I'll try and do one of each. I have something written I'm attempting to get what I have that's on like a note to read it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see me, but I'll be trying to read it. So I'm gonna try. All right, let's pull this up. Where are you? Okay, 1 second. Okay, can you guys see or you can hear me? I don't know, because everyone else was it. So
It's kind of weirdly spotty.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little better now.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna try and read this. So during quarantine, I, just like everyone else, we were all locked in the house, and we were kind of going crazy. So I started doing this thing where I was just kind of like writing statuses on Facebook and just documenting the day of quarantine. And eventually, you know, I kind of stopped, but I did an amalgamation of all of the ones that I had. So I'll read this to you. And I hope that it goes over well. Day 1, I'm safe. Not sure what's going to happen next, but I'm going to take this as it goes, as long as I can enjoy myself. I've got snacks, I've got beer, I'm fine. Day 3, snacks are gone. Running low on beer, but all is well. Maybe I'll take part of a TikTok challenge. Day 6, what is life but a series of movies and endless toothbrushing? Day 7, the kids outside are traveling in packs. They curse like most of them have lost their jobs. Maybe they should, so they can stop leaving popsicle sleeves on my porch. Day 10, I made mac and cheese today. Had to stop myself from asking it to call me daddy because the sound it makes. Day 15, I was challenged to do 100 push-ups via a friend on Instagram. I believe it would be more impressive to eat 100 Flintstone push-ups. Day 16, the smallest boy from next door stood middle of the street shirtless, cursing at his friends. A grandmother on a cruiser rolls back and he tells him, I'm a grown man. The block erupts in laughter. The grandmother continues rolling while she retorts, no, you ain't. And for once, there is a semblance of normalcy. Day 18, I stopped at the Walgreens across the street. We witnessed a man trying to rob a bank without a gun. The National Guard showed up with AK-47s. I would have bought him a few things. Day 22, I miss crawfish and cocktails and being around people at social settings while we all continue this life around us. Day 26, my locks have gotten wet in the shower. They caress my back the way a caring lover should. Our wedding will be on a private ceremony. Please RSVP to the MailChimp invite. Day 28, it didn't work out. We had to split ends. Day 30, at this point, I'm just wearing a sheet as a toga. The mailman knows me as Big Caesars. Day 31, my aunt is touch and go. I'm watching her daughter update us all via Facebook. Over the weeks, she is strong-willed and has a fever that stays at consistent high 90s. I don't usually pray, but I bend the knee and speak to my mother for her sister. So gather a flock of feathers, a plumage of palms for the sick and shut-in as we all are somehow, and she does. Crack the streak of sickness, gets her body back on an Easter Sunday, and ain't that a hallelujah in the closet? A breakthrough in this outbreak. All miracles don't have to be public, yet executions do in the midst of a pandemic. George Floyd triggers a fever of quarantine killings, and this is where we stop counting days and we start counting bodies. Brings to light how long we've survived a virus just to be killed by another. This nation begins to accept the diagnosis of sickness many have chosen to ignore for centuries, and this is when we stop counting days and we start counting bodies. And this is that blackness in the nation for your birth of a nation, and no one has to step on your footstool. You start to feel how far the drop is from that privilege. An uprising begins. Statues topple. The blindfold covering the eyes of justice drops, and those once silent begin to speak. We chant Black Lives Matter. We chant Asian Lives Matter. We say we will be back stronger tomorrow with fists raised and masks on. So, yeah, it's been a crazy series of days for this whole quarantine thing. But I think with the fact that we have this poetry in our lives, that we have the ability to translate certain things that certain people can't. And I'm grateful for the fact that we have this talent. I'm grateful for the fact that we have this place to display them. And it's been kind of like really crazy to see that we went from being in buildings full of people to now we on Zoom doing shows. And it's different. I would say it's less than good because, you know, we as us New Orleans, we are a social kiss on the cheek kind of city, you know, but I think we've come through and adapted. And I'm grateful for the fact that we have certain things like this, like we became so intelligent. We're like, man, fuck that. We're still gonna, sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but we're still gonna be ourselves. We're still gonna rise above this conundrum of like what's going on in this pandemic in this world. And we're gonna still give the greatness that is what we do as far as New Orleans a chance. Like we're gonna do it. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more and then I'll get out your way because it seems like there's a stacked list and I don't want to be a person that's taking up more time. So, and thank you, Amanda. Good to see you. Well, virtually. Yeah. So, all right. So I am because of those who come before me. They who could no longer step and fetch it for pennies, with blackface for wooden nickel promises of walking in the front door, and against every odd, they develop a double consciousness. You see, the cognitive dissonance to being African in America is the speck of sand and all-coated oats that it curls the size of a dream of owning one's own soul, a dream too real not to become true. For we've gone gentle into that good night too many times and have been awoken by the hands that crack the whips. I breathe in the dust of those mighty and swift. They give me strength when there is none. When I was young, they spoon-fed me archetypes too bitter to trust. I have fasted for truth in the gods of Babylon and found substance and a solace in my own history. I've learned that my stock has survived those who write the stories of the ghettos of desire, who have been waiting for Godot, who have contemplated suicide while singing in these cotton fields, and they know how this world still prefers us in our most niggardly state. This world does not understand we have never stopped being the sands of Egypt, the blood all over Baltimore, the shrapnel of Greyhound buses burning for freedom, the speeches of Stokely and Martin and Malcolm and Garvey, mixing in the smoking cauldron of Harriet's fired shotgun. For too many who fell victim of thinking what is good for the oppressor must be good for us, and we can't have that. We cannot have us speaking these old colonial lies with our brown mouths, our brown regal tribe maker mouths, our always trendsetter, melanated, commodified skin, our holiest of holy project survival kit of bones and brains and heart and tongue. There is nothing we have ever needed but the remembrance of us, they who taught how to go pop the stomach, knocking at the door of oppression with a pin in one hand and a machete in the other, all while bearing a back of busted open salty wounds, breathing in the southern air. Let not their deaths be in vain. When this world begs you to forget your past, it will own your future. When looking directly into the wilt of the slash, let your heart pump rhythms of never again, never again. Do not forget the sun in your skin, those cuts in your toes, those keys in your heart passed down from generations. Know that before the temple of knowledge will always swing the gates of toil, and we have been building monuments and perseverance in the shapes of cotton bundles ever since southern code switches have been flipping interstellar coordinates into songs of drinking gourds. We are because of those who've come before us. We're bent over, picking master teachers out the pockets of the galaxy, humming healing songs for the wave of the future. For you be that wave of the future. Can you not hear them? Are you still sleeping, you kings of Nefertiti, you sons of Louverture? Are you still sleeping? Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Kataalyst, thank you. That was incredible. Wonderful stuff.
Appreciate
Thank you. We've got a number of publishers and experienced writers in the room, and one of our features asked a question in the chat. Does anybody know if having this stuff recorded and appearing on YouTube will cause our readers to lose First American rights? I don't think it does. I think it's a separate issue. But yeah, Amanda was wondering. Yeah, I think she can still sell it as First North American rights. But
Yeah, I think that's right.
Law says I'd assume Zoom owns it. Probably not. But yeah, Mark, what do you think? Are you? I'm not sure. But yeah, let's move on to our next reader, Jessica Kennison. Jessica Kinnison's work has recently appeared in Columbia Journal, Phoebe, and the Southern Humanities Review. a 2018 Kenyon Review Peter Taylor Fellow. She was listed as one of 8 New Orleans poets to watch in Poets and Writers, April 2020. Her work has twice been nominated for a Pushcart Prize. A Mississippi native, she is co-founder of the New Orleans Writers Workshop and host of the Dogfish Reading Series in New Orleans. All right, and let me unmute Jessica. If I can find her name in alphabetical order, that's going to be my challenge. Okay, Jessica.
All right. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Wow, Kataalyst, what an honor to follow you. Yeah, someone stole the groceries out in front of my house today, and I thought they really need that. And I would have bought them a few things, really resonated with me. Also a hallelujah in the closet. Man, I feel that. So I'm just so happy to be here, and also with Izzy and Amanda. I love you guys. I'm happy to see you, and I can't wait to hear your work. Thank you, Mark, Cassandra, and Jonathan for inviting me. Thank you for the New Orleans Poetry Fest for enriching my life every single year. I'm so happy to be on the board and just honored to be a part of it. Also so happy to see some of my family and friends, many of whom I haven't seen in person in a very long time. So thank you for being here. I've got a number of short poems I put together throughout the pandemic, and I'll leave it at that. I guess you think Southerners are somewhat anachronistic. I guess you think we're yellowed curtains with smoke holes. I guess you think we know our neighbors from shared blood. I guess you think we enjoy wading in the water. I guess you think you can know the weather from minute to minute. All the weathers of just one day in New Orleans. A flooded car full of jackets. I guess you think waiting always comes to baptism. It ain't so. Sometimes it's just a puddle and we're slowing down the afternoon. Other times it's a bubbling up from the floor and we climb up so high we can touch the sky, and the sky, it touches back. I guess you think the whiskey told the sky to touch me, and it may have. I guess you think you know how long you have, and it's a mighty, mighty long time. Then I guess you think leaving a little early is close enough for government work. The river of stars. I looked and saw a river shrouded in stars. On the surface of each star, my selves met and departed. Then the sky was full of homemade dresses, all with hems cut to make them seem finished. Drop the bomb on me. Snook's Eaglin had me so horny, I could hardly drive us home. Just vaccinated for the second time, the longest, straightest bridge, sunshine in the car with us, all over Lake Pontchartrain, pulling up and putting down every filthy thought, what we'd done in bed a few nights before, electric guitars, backup singers and fishnets, permed hair pulled away from their faces with push combs, whiskey on a dark porch, wet grass on bare feet, grabbing a prickly weed, eating the skin around my fingernails, sweating in a crowd up near the stage, butts, thighs, waist, shoulders, jaws, helping a friend down the hill, taking her hand, drunk in a bathroom line, staying in a hotel somewhere completely boring along a highway, crawfish on a pool table, smoking on a tight balcony, pushing through to the bar, dancing. We were vaccinated in a cattle auction. The livestock would have been so close together. Tin roof bending down to touch the ground, blown off by some recent storm. Snowballs in a styrofoam cup, all of us showering sand off our feet at once. By the way, I'd just like to say the friend I wanted to grab her hand was Lisa Passold, who's here tonight. So thanks, Lisa. We didn't touch. My left arm caught a fever, and then my friend R caught the fever, and then L, then S's coworker, and then the cats, and then the dogs, and then the fever turned into a rash. And then it kept us up at night, burning and itching, dogs chasing their own tails. And then we all bought cold creams and ice packs And then our fingers started to tingle, and then we heard Jesus had come down with something similar, and then we scoured the Bible for medicinal plants, and then we rubbed red clay all over our heads, all the way down to our toes. Even left the house that way, melted right there on the pavement. And then we prayed at dawn and 10 and noon and 2 and 4. And then we fasted until our skin went slack on the bone. Even then our left arms still itched, still burned, even started to smell. And then we thought things might be better on Mars. And after we lost a couple thousand people to fire, we made it up to Mars, on to Mars. And then standing there on that red planet, as red and distant as it is, even then our left arms were still there, bent and burning. The movement. Nest in a cup, raise a family down close to the water. In cattails, bulrushes, sedges. Goldenrod, the world and all is going to burn. The red-winged blackbird sang, the world and all is going to burn. Kunam we ku, kunam we ku. Stop that, the man shouted, or I will kill you. The bird belted out another warning, some things worth dying for. The marsh burned, shells tore open black wings. Blind river, lonesome road, solitude offering, accidentally kicked you in the night. I turned abruptly, ready for a fight, also wanting you tenderly. Mississippi xylophone. Memphis, Kosciuszko, Amory, Winona, Scuba, Indianola, Red Stick, Seminary, Silver Run. Tarzan. Jumped hill to hill in Yazoo County, Aunt Opal's house on Grand Avenue. What a mansion it was to us. Looks small now, an average place. With mildew, with kudzu, mountain dew in the road. Continue on to be lake. The lake is shaped like a bee. Liberto Lane, the gate to Liberto, to Libertad, was closed with 7 brass locks. Even the president couldn't get us in. Branches on the windows. Chafing ankle bracelet of happiness, brutal, unrelenting satisfaction guaranteed America. I am in heaven sitting down with my loved ones. In press closed, young with thick hair and fresh money in my pocket, held together by an eagle clip. The moon conjures, the body's truths alight, take to their own branches of midnight and 2 a.m. and 2:22 a.m. The lizards of dawn drift into sleep on the windows. Imagine if we were not awake for this. Imagine the mystery, the splendor. The sound of our beloved. Another thing to be understood, the softness and loudness of a voice, the cause of illness, the secret idea, rhythm, the drive to know, 3 a.m. thumping to unknow. The whole world, a picture of vibration, lamp bulb flickering, fan humming on the corner, the drying water beside that fan. Peephole through minor static, concrete, a slow solitary hum, an empty church lot filled with yellow cats, a floor-to-ceiling tableau vivant, a vacuum sucking up the world. I can't hear them. Maybe the cats are living statues. A man holds onto my trash can high. Sound is the picture of the beloved. Gravity, nonsense to heroin. The vacuum sucks at his heels. Slow motion, jelly of the world. Slow motion, jelly of the world. The slender man moves down. The neighbor's dog spooks him. The block. He takes hold of a tree limb. He makes no sound, not that I can hear. No sound that I can hear. His yellow hair profound. Contact. Dear Gorilla Glue, plastic knife in the door jamb. Dear Cheyenne's full flavor, 20 for $2.49. Dear dagger tattoo on your calf, dear pulsing muscles, dear arthritis, dear bullet wound, dear infected ear. Dear saw your mom burned, saw your mom shot, dear Yvonne, Shorty, Mo, J-Dog, Bo Kane, my old lady. She's in the bed after dawn, missing out. Dear Dawn, dear mosquitoes, dear bluebirds fighting, dear Lonely Hearts Club, dear water filling the parish prison, dear show up at your mom's on furlough, dear it was just a jail thing, dear stroke, dear stabbing, dear insulin, dear HIV, dear I woke up this morning, didn't I? Dear, all right, all right, all right. Dear, don't look at my hair till I get it straight, okay? Dear bananas in my eggs, dear chicken salad in my gravy, dear swimming pool parties, dear barbecues, dear afternoon storms that roll up just as you leave the house. Love song. It's early in the morning, well, got an aching in my right side, baby. Gotta get up in the early morning, sugar, to root out the devil. Drop the butter in cold water, well, dance it in your warm palm, baby. Bet you didn't know how, sugar, to make a sweet jelly roll. Ain't never been to the ocean, well, wanna see it in your warm palm, baby. Gotta get up early in the morning, sugar, to swirl salt water in your wounded mouth. Sweet jelly roll starts rising. The ache is where my heart lives, baby. Gotta get up in the early morning, sugar, to roll me until I ain't cold no more. Seeing an old friend. Just a few more. Seeing an old friend. Gone mattress, gone spring, hot summer, 3 hurricanes, come moon, come fall, fast wind, movement. Movement. A familiar at the door, desperate, long and tall. I once heard her wail a full church, her ache a wind. A summer, hurricane sun shot, body outside, on the corner, under the moon, face down, got her old mattress out from the trash. Mississippi Nocturne. To steal watermelons, you must be willing to eat their hearts and leave the rest. To steal watermelons, you must be ready for black snakes in the dark grass. To steal watermelons, you must walk with all that lives in thickets, brambles, unworn paths. To steal watermelons, you must be in cahoots with the unknown. Have some kind of spirit about you. To steal watermelons, you must steer clear of any vine. The changes it puts you through. You gotta run all the time. To steal watermelons, you must leave your shoes off in the mud and run. There they stay stuck there behind you, looking like you were snatched. To steal watermelons, you had to dream of having a taste of something. Had to test run sugar water on your own yellow tongue. You had to hope the scarecrow didn't have a gun. All right, and this is my last one. Thank y'all for listening. I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for the clapping and snapping and smiling faces. I love seeing it. Ghazal. The longest has gone absent again. Excuse me, let me start. Ghazal. The longing has gone absent again. My attraction to you started before I was born. For us, your age is a hurricane fever. The love of you is a limb swollen by time. If sometime you leave a drawing at my feet, each line will continue off the page. I gather grief like leaves blown indoors, a hallucination you hear in an old story. You bring suffering, while your music I knew before I ever was born. Thank you.
Jessica, thank you. Fantastic. What was the line about whiskey in the first poem? Whiskey and touching the sky?
Oh, I guess you think.
What was the line?
Oh, what was the line? Let's see here. Oh, so other times it's bubbling up from the floor and we climb up so high we can touch the sky. And the sky, it touches back. I guess you think the whiskey told the sky to touch me.
Excellent.
And it may have.
Maybe. Thank you, Jessica. All right. Next up is Izzy Oneiric. Izzy holds an MFA in poetry from Columbia College Chicago. Her work has appeared in numerous publications, including I don't know this one, Amarola, Olithus, Source Material, Plath Profiles, Poetry WTF, and Phantom Limb. I wonder what Poetry WTF stands for. Izzy is the author of the chapbook From the Bombshell Shelter from Main Street Rag, and the full-length collections Crossing Bryan Ferry and Other Poems, and The Year is Sunday. When not poeting, Izzy loves cats and jigsaw puzzles. Let me find Izzy in the list, and I bet she will read for us. Unmuting Izzy.
And I am unmuted. Yay! Yay. Hello, Jonathan and everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. It is delightful to be in this incredible lineup with Kataalyst and Jessica and Amanda. And it's so great to see so many people here who I haven't seen in such a long time and to see some new faces. So thank you all. I'm going to be reading some short pieces from my first book, Crossing Bryan Ferry and Other Poems, that was put out by Bill Lavender at Lavender Inc., who I see is here today. So hi, Bill, and thank you. So I was going to do a long poem, but I'm not feeling it. So I think I'm just going to dive in and do some short ones. Okay. And this first one is called In Manhattan's Attic. I rush the stairs like a caffeinated asterisk, rattle dinner plates in bas relief. This is a room of miniature dioramas, Acropolis, Big Ben, Valley of the Kings, demurely lit in obsessive detail. Very few people know it exists. In this attic, I am giant. This attic has a sky. With satin hammer, rowdy letters, I shatter glass partitions, swinging between story and a secret. Someday the Eiffel Tower will be mine. Wendia Williams. Whenever Wendia Williams spat on stage, our bruises and our stomach aches grew dim. She was a blade from hospital to war, chain bikini and chainsaw slim. And she was throbbing impulse of sweet 16, and she was always satisfying needs, but still she shattered pulses when she screamed, "Why are all our heroes dead?" And she was impact, yes, wrecker set for kill, and pinprick schooled and all possessed. We thought that she was desecration. She made us wish that we were in her place. So on we failed and waited for the faint, and went without the gasp, and cursed the soggy beds. And Wendia Williams, one vitreous April, went to the woods, fed her favorite squirrels, lay on a rock, and put a bullet in her head. And this one is called The Problem of Death. I remember being a kid and seeing this news segment about people who went to Haiti to fake their death for money. And it really stuck with me, like being a little kid. And years later, someone dared me to write a poem about it, and I did, so here it is. An associate told me of Funeral Row, where undertakers have no reservations blessing caskets filled with rocks. I went with the intention of flying in, dying, and flying out with the name of a dead peasant baby. My debts were insurmountable, and none of the lives I was living were mine. I left no note for my wife, my lover, my 3 martini Armani cronies. It had to be an accident, at the very least a mystery. I'd call it a business trip. I stepped off the plane and into a puddle of rat. I stepped around the urchins at the door of the hotel. It was a nice hotel, blue walls and iron windows. In a Panama hat, I inquired of Funeral Row. I found my undertaker. I found my casket. My casket was teak, copper cross on the lid. It would burn well. I met the priest, cigarette and rope burns on his chest. My funeral would cost $5,000 complete with rented mourners and footage of the coffin burning. There would be no doubt about my death. I gladly paid. He smiled and we toasted to new beginnings. As I drank, he told me Carrefour and Papagette, like strong rum, cheat at cards and guard the doors to life and death. They chose Haiti as the portal between heaven and hell. There is only one entrance to life, but many to death. He smiled again and I saw why the west wind never blows through Gonaives. I am not a religious man, but I felt compelled to cross myself. I left with dust on my boots, heat in my lungs and my tongue. I must return tonight for proof of death. In Haiti, priest and notary are one. Thank you. Almost unkillable. Silver day, so much to remember, so little to say. The bar is long and thick, sinuous, murder when they're drunk, an exclamation. Pressed for tender in a book like Flowers. Give my love to, oh, anyone. Caravan's tower is very unique. It is white and hollow and conceals a special Da Vinci-like machine. When La Calvania blows, the wind courses through the tower, animating the machine. So the tower of wind becomes a tower of music. Talkin' Mayakovsky to the taxman and the sun. Taxman, you're less trouble to brew tea for than the sun, but the sun doesn't come looking for money. Taxman, you're a beggar. The sun, a simple thief stealing precious leisure light from the proletariat. You can tell by the way the sun constantly shifts, it's uncomfortable in its own skin, but you didn't hear that from me. Nowhere but in Mosselprom do display windows capture the glassy shadows of crystal breath clenched jaw shoppers like a pistol captures a final frozen moment. The panes easier to wipe clean of fingerprints and foggy nostrils than sheetrock. Gunshot, most intimate sound, last thing shared between a man and the world, captures the moment more vividly than the note by his side. Glass, gunshot, note. That is the hierarchy of remembrance, depending on what other methods have failed to convey your message, depending on where you failed and what you failed to forget. Nowhere but in Mosselprom can a man's exploded heart sit in a basket with clean bed linens and two old ladies fighting over who saw it first. Comrade Solaris, Comrade Taxman, Comrade Playwright, Comrade Revolver, it is not inappropriate to greet Comrade Moon with good morning, for when Comrade Moon rises, his day has just begun. All we have in common is the desire to not immolate loved ones with our touch, marry blonde refugees, jump rope like drunk children, arms linked in solidarity, mouths opened in song, not belonging to a state, but to ourselves. Okay. Fog in cafe. Chipped, slender, windows, them bells, bathtubs, laptops, announce cardamom, quickly exit. Balzac mimics with many embraces, rice cubes, absinthe, boys, Edith Piaf, girdles, bone-laced, fog-filled rubies. With cocked doors, with entree, talk pours, coffee, how drunk in all sugar, with and in by heavy, hanging in, talk pours. December answers. I told you not to worry. You'll have fuel, you'll have food through winter, though you'll have to ration. Be rational. Don't burn your mittens. There are spare mittens. For your sore throat, warm whiskey and honey. This is Christmas for a broken door. To muffle the sirens, here is a scarf. Fasten the end on top. Double knot. Don't move. There's still something missing. And let's see. I'm going to close with bedtime wish for a lost San Francisco. Safe home to faux girl, Daddy Fernando and buttery chaps, Virginia the tamale lady, Rabbit tipsy in her tattered cashmere wrap, Frank Chu impeaching world leaders for crimes in 12 galaxies, Hussein in his hot pink Ganesh. May the stripper make enough for a cab. May the cab driver be a gentleman. May the stripper make enough to tip him well. DJ, dog walker, Ohio exile, midnight trolley driver. Look out for each other and all the birds, mostly pigeons, pecking stale breadcrumbs beside old men on Market Street. Sailors, some of them drunk and asleep in their boots, eating hot meals in long dead kitchens, seducing girlfriends forever 17. Perhaps one of them, one in a million, catches tigers in red weather. And of course you, holding this, with your eyes, in your mind, sweet dreams, wherever you've left your heart. Thank you.
Izzy, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone. That was fun.
Very glad. Yeah, I love the variety of unexpected themes that you kept bringing. It was very cool. Thank you. All right, we've got one more featured reader and then we'll go to an open mic. And let's see, Amanda, our next reader, asked the chat room if this video, which is being recorded and we'll put on YouTube, counted as selling first North American writing and first North American rights, excuse me, and if she could still have it published in a journal afterwards. And the consensus of the room was that we have no idea. So, here she is. A native daughter of New Orleans, Amanda Emily Smith is a Black feminist, community organizer, and a poet and writer. She is a contributing writer to Luminescent Threads, Connections to Octavia E. Butler, the 2018 Logos Award winner for Best Nonfiction, as well as the 2018 Hugo Award finalist for Best Related Work. She has also been featured in Boog City, Dillard Review, as well as Images. Amanda, what have you got for us tonight?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Can everyone hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading. Alter my view so I can see you all, if I can figure it out. Okay. So, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, Lit Balm. Thank you, New Orleans Poetry Festival. Thank you, everyone who came. Thank you for whoever put my name out in the air. I'm so grateful to be here. I have not probably been reading since, pandemic time. And so this is so exciting to be back to reading for you all and sharing with you all. Let me see, give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out, this is like my first Zoom reading, so I'm still like trying to figure out Zoom on the computer. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to be reading about some of my favorites. I haven't been doing that much writing poetry, but I have been writing and working on a natural memoir about coming out again as a lesbian. So, so here we go. This one is called Black Butterfly. People want to know why I am the sole Black butterfly they meet. Why are you the only one? First, I am not alone and we are multiplying. But to answer the query, the world crushes Black women, chews us up in their acid, and spits out the husk to live out its existence in misery. The world tried me. It chewed and chewed, dropped me into its acid stomach mouth, and spit me out each time. Each time I knitted my broken wings back together with love and warmth, healed my husk with my own fire. Phoenix butterfly, I said, fuck the world. This machine cannot have my joy. I got myself up in love and light and flew on, forever young, forever free. Black butterfly. Okay, so this is a new poem that I have not, oh no, that was a new poem, but this is an old poem, so there's no rights that can be lost. I share this all the time everywhere. And I have a nonprofit project that I'm working on under the same title, Darker Sister. I am the darker sister, often scorned and spit upon, many times looked down on. My black skin scorned by the children of the bluest eye. I am the darker sister, of whom many do not know. I am the darker sister, whom many have forgotten. I am the darker sister. I birthed the world between my legs, sculpted the land like a potter sculpts clay. Music sprung from my belly. I spit language from my lips and rhythm beat from my hips. There's a world of color in my skin. I'm the darker sister. I cried the nod when my children were taken away. I live and breathe for them each day. I'm wounded from the shackles of time. I bleed for the ones still enslaved. I am the darker sister. I know no end. I live in each of my kin, from the banks of the Congo to the rainforests of the Ivory Coast to the deserts of the Saharas, to my scattered sibs like stars lost in the night sky, yet still burning bright. I am the darker sister. I will rise again. I'm rising. I'm rising. Darker sister. Darker sister. So, I forgot to press record so I could tell how long I'm reading, because I love talking and reading and have a tendency to always go over. So, just stop me when time or.
You're doing great. We're loving hearing from you.
Thank you. Country Talk. So I actually talk in my accent because I normally, I code switch a lot, you know. So here I'll talk to you in the country talk so you know what I'm saying. My true voice is seventh water in the ninth ward, Mississippi red clay, and Black Creole Louisiana slit. It is sacred gumbo sign. If you have been blessed to hear it, your ears have been kissed by New Orleans. This is divine, a seventh ward girl sacrament, a Black New Orleans liturgy, a blessing. So, I write a lot of erotica. Thank you, Jessica. I'm about to jump into the erotica. I'm feeling extra gay today, so just be prepared, or you know, you may wish to mute at this time. It's okay, it's all good. So here we go. I'll start you off slowly with water. Water plunges in the dark, secret places, caressing the red coral, feeling the places one can't see, only to know the depths of the sea. Massages the spongy porpoise in the belly of the beast, tasting the sweet salt of its surroundings, lapping in the fullness of it, only to soak in its wetness. Strokes the mouth of the cavern at the bottom of the sea, reaching the apex of the cave, kissing it gently, lovingly, until the sea quakes in reply, only to parting to make waves in the sand. Okay, so now that we're in the water, we're just going to keep going in because that's how I like it. So these are some sexy haikus that I wrote. So here we go. How many lifetimes can we make of this one kiss? I drowned in you. Pearl to pearl, ocean swell, I found another mermaid to water, worship. Poet takes the stage, words erupt like sweet honey, thanks for the afterglow. A goddess consents, release all expectations, kiss and open and kiss the sky. Sweat drips from brown skin, the press of you inside me, sweat glistens in moonlight. This is my favorite one. Mouth gapes wide, hard press. When you take me to heaven, look me in the eye. That's more sexy stuff. I'll just let y'all had enough. So I'll just go on to this one. This one I wrote a long time ago, but it's still so true. So you are without gender, ageless, without face, timeless, beyond beauty, technically beyond all space and time. You're the same you that I have been writing since I could put pen to pad and articulate the intricacies of this lifetime. You are always you. You're the same you that I've wanted this whole lifetime, before we met, before we spoke, before you became flesh with my flesh, after my mother expelled me into this world and I knew the original separation that we almost survived to live on Mother Earth, you probably came to mind. You are of another lifetime. You are you that knows my soul and can caress my deepest places without ever touching my skin. You who calls me to better consciousness, you who calls me to be free, you who calls me to be a better human, you who makes me a better me, you are the one I love. Okay, so that is me. Thank you. I really appreciate being here, and I really appreciate you all for listening and receiving my words. That was so much fun.
Amanda, thank you so much. Love the sexy haikus. Loved all of it.
Thank you. And also, I think I read too fast because it was like maybe 10 minutes or 7 minutes. So I'll work on that.
All right, it's all good. It was great. Okay, we're about to turn it over to Cassandra for the open mic. But first, Mark, do you have some announcements for us? I saw you on mute, Mark. All right. There we go. All right. Should we do the open mic?
Absolutely. Okay. I think we should have one more round of applause for the amazing features. It's been incredible. I have loved you all. I've thought in so many lines and so many ways that that they will haunt me in good ways for the days to come. So thank you for your generosity. And let's keep the spectacular moments coming with a brilliant Lit Balm New Orleans Poetry Festival open mic. So we have some people who've signed up. We're going to start with the amazing Bill Lavender, who I know that you all know, and he was going to grace us with his magnificence as the first member of the open mic. So Bill, can we please have a poem from you?
Sure, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity to read. I haven't read in ages, it seems like. So I started writing this little sequence of poems based on Augustine's City of God. I don't know why I decided to do this series, but once I got into it, I realized it had a certain synchronicity with the events last January and the attempted takeover of the Capitol. Augustine's writing about the sacking of Rome, and anyway, so I stole some things from him, stole some language, and but adapted it to the present day. Let's see how I'm just trying it out on you guys. So 1, city of romance, city of law, city of fable, ruled solely by the lust to rule. Dignitaries totter above the shifting scene, painted barbarians buck high along the trellis, bull helmet, fawn skin, boots on the marble, hooves on broken glass. We speak of the earthly and of the other city, for to the city belong the enemies of the city, inflamed with hatred, unable to utter a single word without prejudice. City of granite, city of vapor, walls raised up above the smoke of war, shrine at the gate. 2. So these little chapter numbers all match Augustine's, though you wouldn't recognize them if you were to read them. I don't recommend reading Augustine, by the way. It's a really masochistic enterprise. 2, we persist in an image we assembled like a castaway lashes debris into a raft and then climbs aboard. How invoke a God who does not exist? How invoke one who does? 3, the history of raised banners pauses for a moment of rhetorical silence. Guardian gods flicker on the nightstand, wet hoarding evidence of the Q conspiracy. 4, senators huddled in the stairwells, clutching bits of paper as theologians roam the halls. Horror film suspense, thumb cocking the pistol. Perhaps the poet, in the manner of all poets, records what did not happen. But there is no question what an enemy does when sacking a city. 5, virgins and boys were violated, Augustine remembered. Temples and houses plundered, slaughter and burning, corpses, blood and wailing, and not from foreign foes, but citizens, citizen parricides. 6, the vice president, cut off from above, huddled with his family beneath a table, lips moving silently through the litany of jingos common to the genres of Protestant prayer, while rams battered the door and voices shouted the most practical of admonitions. They're in here, bring a hammer, give me that crowbar. Thanks.
Wow, that was amazing. Unable to offer a single word without prejudice. What a fantastic line. You can try things out on us anytime. That was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're the king of the New Orleans Poetry Festival, like, you know, or the king cake. Isn't that what you eat there sometimes?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much. The next person we have is the wonderful Rodney A. Brown, who has read a few weeks ago for us and is incredible. So Rodney, can we unmute you and get you to read something for us?
Hope you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm setting the timer for 2 minutes. It's the food. And Rosha, Bokatala Pata Fashoro, Rokatala Mashima Shimoto Roshoto, Gosta Gastmistmoto, Rosta Mistabishma, Gosta Mistavro, Bista Gista Gista Lotsibishabo, Rosta Bista Kenito, Gosta Gista Lerista Picho, Osha Vachagarus, Esta Gasticos, Esta Basoros, Resha Boseragoto, O Gatintriton, Esta Tugatin, every Domingo, every going to the wrong to the Gatis, that's the last what's echoes asked what a baptism that Orosho Tokoto, female ro. Se Kalame Toro Shotoboko, Rash Salabashme Tokoto, O Saramista Gastion, Mr. Gostil, Gastil, Silence, that's Strostio. Oshanda Katoris, the best, Mr. Mosh, the Gush, or Ashti, Scott, Eros, Steros, Eas, Steros, as most, and a Charles Ross Scott. As, and with 12 seconds left, just to say that because New Orleans is really one of those places where all of these kinds of cosmologies, of spiritualities mixed together, that was Vespers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was incredibly rousing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us, Rodney. I don't think that Mark Ducharme is here, so I think Los Glazier is our next open mic. So could we please have Los unmuted so that we can hear some great poetry?
Okay, thank you. This one, just one poem called Terrestrial Life, which follows the last poem in a certain way. Terrestrial life is a matter of the arc. They do not exist. Houses, mountains, rock, landscape, monuments, any fixed point. Weather events prove that shores become lagoons, valleys become river torrents. Earth itself is not a concrete floor control channel, a concrete flood control channel, but an enormous butterfly perched on a blue spherical flower. The movement of its wings synchronous with the pulsations of your lungs, contented blinking of eyelids, heartbeats exhaling in rhythm to water's pulsations. Foundation does not imply permanence, but like an anchor is a trente d'oeil simulating the security of a fixed location. 1 minute, the sea around our anchor chain drips water from Madagascar. The next, from the Isla Negra Mediterranean islets in Almeria, Spain, a day's ride from the town of Pueblo Lorca under a fingernail moon in a pale blue sky. Or you are aboard Neruda's coastal ship-like home in Chile, poet fascinated by the ocean, but preferring to remain a sailor on land. With hand-picked seashells on the main entrance floor and stained glass windows chosen by the poet to see the ocean in different colors. Be aware that on board, you're in close quarters. Here, you don't need many possessions. Give things to passerbys, even while loading cargo, especially old books, odd photographs, all employment records, any government IDs, CDs, cassettes, floppy disks, and other detritus. Being on the Ark means starting anew. Second, tight order is to be maintained. Keep necessities at hand, your body lean, the prow buffed, pristine and swift. There is no feeling like the effortless gliding through sea protoplasm's salt air. Finally, remember, if waters are tranquil, engage the present moment. If tempestuous, engage the present moment.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I don't know whether I loved the enormous butterfly or the fingernail moon most, but just so many beautiful images there and a powerful way to end. Thank you so much. The last person we have in open mic is Paul Hetherington, who is also in Australia, and he's going to read for us, I hope, if we unmute him. Paul, lay a poem on us.
Thanks very much, Cassandra, and hi, everyone. I'll just read a short prose poem called Onions. We took hundreds of photos, but the house would not belong. Lazily, it fell across the hillside like a lounging dog and would not acknowledge us. Nights of sleepless talk, days of struggling on stony roads and pebbly ground. But we bought small, sweet onions, making a pie. Dark crusted in a dish, it was a key to the house, expanding its rooms. We learned the lie of a concave sofa, stopped quizzing the cold, our bones began to warm. Hilly ground held trails we gradually recognized. Autumn fell, we felt the season between toes. You said it was a miracle, onions, baking, washing, walking the rounds, feet on earth, words like bladed tools. You picked up a head of purplish broccoli, and this, you said, beauty that sits in the hand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nights of sleepless talk. What a fantastic line. And Mark started with pizza and you ended with onions, and it's breakfast time here and I'm starving. But I think I'm going to throw back to Jonathan. That was an amazing, amazing open mic. Thank you for being generous with your time and your poetry. Jonathan.
That really was. What a great open mic. Mark, do you have any announcements for us?
I do. So next show, in collaboration with New Orleans Poetry Festival, of course, is the Singapore Connected Authors reading, which is Rachel Blau du Plessis, Marilyn Tan, George Sitches, and Ranjit Hoskote, with guest MC Alvin Pang, live from Singapore. April 17, once again, of course, with the New Orleans Poetry Festival, we have a Dominican poets feature, which includes Rina Espaillat, who is kind of the guest of honor, Jose Enrique Del Monte, Soledad Alvarez, and Juan Matos. And of course, most of the work will be presented in English, so don't worry if your Spanish is rusty. And on April 24, we have the Magic Show, which includes Dorian Locks, Andrew Geron, Bruce Bond, Hank Glazer, and Ruth Lepson. That should be quite a show. And all of those in conjunction with the New Orleans Poetry Festival. Thank you so much. There's amazing features today. I love Lit Balm, and I want it to go on forever. Here's a little poem that I translated from my old friend who passed away recently, Werner Lutz, a Swiss poet. It's very short. Tonight, I want to sleep in a deep ultramarine from the other side of the oceans. Tonight, I want to believe you lie next to me and your breaths accompany my breaths and mine accompany yours. It doesn't matter where. Lots of love and poetry. Thank you everyone for a wonderful night.
Bill wanted to say a quick thing about the festival.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to invite everybody to attend all the festival events as well as Lit Balm. There's literally something every day in April. I don't think there might be one day that has nothing now, but it opens up Thursday, April 1st with the I Am New Orleans show, which will be readings from the new anthology from UNO Press, edited by Kalamu Yasalam, who, if you remember from Poetry Fest 2 years ago, brought down the house. Anyway, so it's him and a bunch of other readers from the anthology. And then there are more readings, like I said, every day. Also Saturday, there's an open mic that you can sign up for. There's like a 4-hour open mic, and you can sign up for that on the website, nolapoetry.com. Don't go there right now because it's broken, but it should be fixed in a matter of minutes. It's not our fault, it's the provider's fault. But anyway, thank you.
Dillard University presents, reads on April 6th at 6. Dillard University presents, reads on April 6th at 6. Come see my lovely students and brilliant students.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.